Hi guys, today we speak with Frank Schmitt. He is an independent researcher of pyramids in Egypt and he lives in Egypt. And we're going to talk with him about all this story. So, hi Frank.
Hello, how is it going?
So, let's start our speech. Tell us how you get involved with this activity. What attracted you so much?
Yeah, I must say, to tell you the truth, I first came to Cairo in late 2018, October or something. And when I came here, I was actually working on a project. I'm a professional photographer and I am interested in music. I always was for most of my life. And I had this project with freelance artists. And this brought me to Egypt, actually. And in 2018, I booked a flight and I came here. I had friends from Cairo before I came here. And they were basically the reason why I ended up here. And so I came here to work on this project and I started and it was really nice and so on. And then all my musician friends, they disappeared somehow. Nobody was answering their phones. I could do not anything, and I was basically stuck in Cairo thinking I have to do something, it's like none of these people are responding. And then I thought, okay, wait, there are pyramids here, right? There are the big pyramids. So maybe I should just go and check them out and take a few photos. And at that point, I had no idea about pyramids, no idea about Egypt or anything related to ancient Egypt or whatsoever. I just landed here. I didn't came here as a tourist. My friends were showing me around, they're showing me the real Egypt, I never had a tour guide or anything like this. So one day I took a taxi to Saqqara and not even Giza. My first plan was like, okay, when I'm in Cairo, I should go to the Giza pyramids and go inside the Great Pyramid. That was the only plan I had. And after a week, I took a taxi in the morning, like spontaneously to Saqqara. I had a driver for the day and I was exploring by myself. So I went and the first pyramid I saw was, of course, the Step Pyramid from far. But I wanted somehow, like a few days ago, I found out about this place called the Serapeum. And I never heard about this place before in my life. So since I was in Saqqara, I told the driver, I want to see this place. So he went, and then we stopped at the Pyramid of Teti. And that was the first pyramid I ever saw up close. And that was the first pyramid I actually went inside. I guess you have been before. And you see these ceiling blocks that were like coming down. And you see the size of the blocks. And I was like, what is going on? Why is this so big? Why is everything so massive and so big? And I went out and we went to the Serapeum. And I was fortunate enough to be completely alone in this place. So I went in and I only saw a few moments of these and very, very shitty videos, like bad quality. And I went in and I was astonished. I was speechless. I was thinking, what is this? What are these boxes? What and why are they so big? And it's everything is made of granite, and at least most of the boxes. And I was strolling around and see all these niches with these boxes. And then the guard told me, or he was asking me, like, come, you wanna see? You wanna go inside? And I say, like, yeah, of course, but how is it possible? And he showed me one where they put some stones so you can go over the fence and down. And so I peeked in one of these boxes and they were so amazingly like polished. I was speechless, actually. I took a few photos, but the first photos I took were really bad. The light was, as you might know, it's very, very low light in this place. And I spent like 3 hours in this thing. And the guard left me alone in this. And I really took my time to explore this. And after this, I went to the Step Pyramid. It was all amazing, but the only thing in my mind was these boxes in the Serapeum. That was actually the thing that struck me. And I had one thought at this moment, like more like on a subconscious level. I was thinking, why did I never hear about this place? I mean, this is so astonishing. I'm more interested in these things than the Giza pyramids right now. You know, it's like I didn't want to see the pyramids. I wanted to go to the Serapeum again. When I went back to Cairo in the taxi, my mind was going on like, how is this possible to do these boxes? And there are no inscriptions in there. I mean, at least at most of them. There's only one box from these black polished boxes that have some very bad writings. And this was in my mind for the whole trip. And 2 days before I went back to Germany, I was actually going to the Giza pyramids. You know, I was thinking like, oh man, it's just like, I only have 2 more days, so I have to go to the Giza pyramids because I don't know if I will ever come back to Egypt. And when I went to the Giza pyramids, I don't want to tell you the whole story, but I had a very bad experience in the beginning because my driver was cheating on me. I did not want to go to the big entrance where the buses go. I want to go to the small entrance where the Sphinx is because I am not a tourist guy and I cannot stand tourism. Too many people, too loud, and everything is too aggressive. So the guy cheated on me and brought me to the heart of the hustlers, where they keep the camels and the horses. And they were surrounding me like a gang, and they wanted to get money of me, and it was really tough. And in the end, they brought me with a horse, like a horse carriage, to this panorama place. And I was allergic to horses. I did not know. And I was getting tears in my eyes. I had problems breathing and I could not take any photos because I could not see anything. And it was all like blurry and every now and then I was putting the camera and take a shot and it did not know what I was shooting. And in the end, after this panorama place, it was really brutal because it was hot. I could not see anything. I could not enjoy myself. And the guy constantly wanted more money. And then we went back and I say, okay, I want to leave here now. And then he dropped me off in the middle of the big pyramids. And then I was actually fleeing to this place, which is called the Western Field, where all these mastabas are. So I went there, got a place in the shade. And I took off my camera bag and I sit down and I had some water and smoked a cigarette. And then I was relaxing and all these symptoms from the allergy went away. And then my trip started. And that was the complete opposite of the beginning of the day, which was a nightmare, basically. And I think many tourists, and especially those who go for the first time, have a similar experience because they see it, that you don't know anything and you are an easy target for them. I mean, they do it for ages, you know. And once I was alone there, my trip started and I was spending 3 hours at this Western Field by myself. I did not see anybody, no tourists, no guards, no one. I was completely alone. I wanted, of course, you have the Great Pyramid right next to you, and it's so big. Anybody who watches this and never got to Egypt, you can look at 1 million photos, videos, documentaries. Nothing can show how these structures are really like until you be there and see how big they are. It's like it's unbelievable. So I was exploring, no matter from which angle, there was always this gigantic pyramid. And then I said, okay, I need to go. I mean, I spent so many hours already, so I need to go to the pyramid. And then I started going to this pyramid. While I'm getting closer, I saw these tourists and the hustlers and the the horses, the camels, the police, and everybody was screaming and blowing whistles, and it was so loud and so aggressive. I was like, I was going to the pyramid, and midway, I decided to go away from the pyramid. And that was the point where I decided I need to come back to Egypt as fast as possible. Egypt, everything is, time seems to not exist here. And things are taking so much time, especially those places. I mean, now, like almost 7 years later, I cannot count how many times I've been to the Giza pyramids, maybe 30 times, 25 times, maybe more. I stopped counting. But then when it was the first time, I thought it's no use going to the pyramid now. I know I cannot enjoy it with these lots of people and tourists. So I rather go somewhere where there's nobody. And this is where my whole trip began, basically. So I explored things that from far, it just looks like the desert. But once you go there, you find things, many things. It's never ending, actually. The Giza Plateau is so big that if you just focus on these 3 pyramids, this is the smallest part of the whole plateau. On all sides, in every direction, there are so many marvels to see, and it's so interesting. And then I flew back to Germany. 3 months later, I came back to Egypt. This time for a month. Then I spare you all the details of this trip, but I've been there for a month, went back to Germany. 3 months later, back to Egypt for 6 weeks. Then again, back to Germany. And then I wanted to go again for 2 months. And then COVID began. Everything was closed. No chance to take a flight. I was stuck in Germany for 9 months. And then the real trip began, because once I booked a flight, I wanted to stay 2 months, and I ended up staying 9 months. I had no plan. It was all not planned. I'm a freelancer, I professional photographer in Germany, in Hamburg. Everything was, the whole field of photography, of freelance photography, was on a halt because of this COVID virus. So basically, and there was a lockdown. That means you were stuck in your flat. You were not allowed to meet people. And once I left, I just stayed in Egypt. and this is where the real trip began, actually.
And it's attracted you so much, and you decided to stay there. So
Yes.
tell us what's your activity and what's interesting you found there. What's take your heart?
I mean, it's actually too much to list. I mean, for example, like when I told you that I had no idea about Egypt. I never was interested in pyramids or ancient Egypt or anything. I knew that there are some pyramids, and in my sense, it was, okay, there are these 3 big pyramids, but I always thought they are somewhere in the desert. I did not know that they are actually in Cairo, because I only knew these photos of these postcards and, this kind of the 3 pyramids with the desert in the background, and everybody knows those pictures. And you mostly, you never see these pictures with Cairo in the background. And it's like Cairo begins directly in front of the pyramids. And so, let's say there are much more pyramids than just the Giza pyramids. The Giza pyramids are the biggest and the best preserved pyramids that you can visit, apart from Dashur. Dashur is also very interesting, even though that there are no, there's no tourism. You cannot ride a horse. There's no camels. There's no hustlers. There's just few guards, and chances are very good. If you come early, like at 8, 9 in the morning, you're completely alone there. So Dashur is one of the most interesting places for me. But let's say the whole, the tourism business, it's all circling around these 3 sites, which is Giza, Saqqara, and Dashur. And pretty soon I figured out that there are so many more places. most of them are restricted. Like access is very restricted. You need a special permission to get in there. Sometimes it's possible to get in there somehow without this permission. And so, I mean, basically in all these trips I did in the more than 6 years, I did both. I did special permissions. I did things on my own. But basically what I'm doing is I'm going alone. I'm going alone, no guide, no friends, no. I just need to explore these things by myself, because if let's say we go together and we talk, this talk distracts me from things I might see. And when I did this, I discovered so many places, and now the list is almost endless. You know, for example, one of my favorite places, I mean, it's more than one. It's like Abu Sir, for example, is a pyramid field where there are like 7, 8 pyramids, lots of other structures. There's Abu Ghurab nearby, which is amazing. Then you have Abu Rawash. This is one of my favorite spots. Saqqara is actually, I mean, it's hard to tell. You know, I cannot pick a favorite. Which I cannot point one thing out and say like, go there, this is the best place or something. Each and every place has their own charm and their own special things to see. And so Saqqara is one of the central areas that is just amazing. And even though that Saqqara is split into 2 parts, north and south, the northern part is more like the area for tourists where you buy the ticket and you can explore. And the southern part is mostly restricted and nobody goes there. I mean, I think for tourists it's not the most attractive, because all the other pyramids, apart from Giza and Dashur, are really like the destruction is so extreme that sometimes there's not much to see. You know, it's like if you want to see a pyramid, you expect the typical shape of the pyramid, and if you go there and you don't see this shape, you think it's not interesting. But I got interested in the substructures of all these places, and this is where like one of my topics in my book come into place. But favorite places, there are too many. There's actually too many. I mean, Fayum, for example, it's a thing of their own. You know, it's of its own. It's you have 3 pyramid sites there, for example, Hawara, Lahun, and Maidum, and not many people go there because it's the only place where you have these pyramid fields that is pretty far away. It's like from Giza, maybe 60 kilometers, something 55, 60 kilometers, and it's a long ride. And so lots of people tend to stay in Giza and Saqqara and sometimes Dashur, but Lahun, for example, in this area, super interesting.
Yeah, it's the heart of Middle Kingdom, this area, Fayum Oasis and Lahun and Hawara, and it was this famous labyrinth in Hawara, and
which is still discovered.
And also, it's 2 pyramids in Lisht between Dashur and Fayum Oasis. Yeah, it's very interesting sites and very interesting nature around. It's completely different from Giza, but it's look like a more human, more cozy place. That's absolutely undiscovered yet. It's only excavation in a couple spots. But it was huge city over there and huge engineering project like 800 kilometers channel for water to this lake in Fayum, and a lot of stuff people don't know about. I love this spot.
Me too. And Licht is actually also one of my favorite spots, not only because of the pyramids, because I mean, if you've been to all these pyramids, you have to go through these villages. So basically,
Yes.
every pyramid or pyramid site is named after the village. It's actually the real name nobody knows. And Saqqara, Abu Sir, Licht, Meidum, these are all the names of the villages. And Licht is a really nice village. It's different than all the other villages somehow. You know, for example, if you take Saqqara, Abu Sir, Zawiat El Aryan, there are like all these villages that are a bit like a bit similar. But Licht is very friendly, very colorful, and the people were exceptionally friendly. And yeah, Licht is really amazing, and the nature there is just beautiful.
And Licht also, we have two pyramids, big pyramids of Middle Kingdom, and they are unexcavated. And it's still keep mystery. And maybe Pharaoh still in the pyramid. So nobody excavated it, and it's going to be done in the future, but we don't know when, because its water level is too high, doesn't let make excavation. That's why I guess it's only place in Egypt where you can hope a real burial of the king still existing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
Well, possible, because it was flooded, I guess, in ancient time yet. So, well, we're thinking about a big expedition to where. Yeah, and it's a really very good place. Very friendly and everything nice. It's completely different from Giza. But not many people go where. It's understandable, because people come to Giza to take pictures. It's famous location. This is all you need, actually, like being a tourist. And you here in the city, all infrastructure, restaurants, cars, streets, everything nice. So that's why, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Not
easier.
Easier, of course, easier. It's in the city, and you don't need this trip.
That's true.
So tell us about your book. What you're writing about? What's interesting in it?
I mean, of course. I mean, I have to say that everything is interesting in there. But
Of course, yeah. But I mean,
what can I say? I'm writing a boring book. No, the thing is, I like to focus, or it's not that I like to focus. I'm focusing on basically the building techniques. You know, for example, when you just mentioned Licht and with these Middle Kingdom and Fayum and so on, the thing is, what I do from the beginning is I step away from the official timeline. And I'm doing this not because I don't believe in the official story or something, but the thing is, if you have a label on everything, your views are very narrow. So it doesn't give you the space to, like, you know, in my job as a freelancer, I'm used to research for every new job. Every job has its own topic, its own, like, products. I was working in product photography basically, and that means every product and every new product is connected to some theme, and this theme you have to research so that you know what you're talking about. And that means you have to have these brainstormings, you know? I mean, basically, you can come up with crazy ideas, but these crazy ideas are not for the public. It's not for the finished product. It's just to open the field for you. And in my book, I did this from the beginning, that I say, okay, I did not know anything about these pyramids. I did not know about the timeline of the pharaohs. I heard about the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, but I had no names except the most famous names of the Giza pyramids. But I thought, I come here with no prejudice, with no knowledge. I just came here as a photographer, and I have this eye that sees things. And since I was a craftsman in my early life, I was immediately interested in these. For example, one of the main subjects in my book are the tool marks. You know, unfortunately, there are no tools that connect to these specific tool marks. Even if we have the tools in the museum, but for me, it's very unsatisfying because I see, for example, mistakes that were made in certain tool marks, and these tool marks are basically the only aspects that gives you an idea of what this tool was doing. You know, for example, if I take a super polished statue or one of these high polished boxes in the Serapeum, you don't see any tool marks because when it's highly polished, all these tool marks are polished away. But in these mistakes, you see these lines, these grooves, you have these cusps where maybe they readjusted the tool or something. And these things, they were catching my eye like immediately. So basically, these things, what I'm talking about is basically stones. It's like, for example, I have these, I notice many things, and I'm actually not claiming that I'm the first one who noticed these things, but if you have a documentary or some YouTuber or an archaeologist, a book or something, they mention some of it, but only on a side, you know, on a side note. They mention it briefly and then they talk about something else. And I'm only talking about this. I'm not talking about writings, kings, queens. I'm not.
Of course.
You know, I don't have the big answers like who, when, and exactly how it was made. But I start very low to say, okay, let's first document this. And let's, in my position, I see myself as someone who sees things, and I show you these things, and then I ask you, what do you think what this is? What do you think how this was made? If I show you some tool marks, I ask you, what do you think? What kind of tool could this be? And this is what I'm mostly interested in. I don't have any theory or an agenda that I say, okay, I know, I have proof, we know, and these. In my opinion, when somebody says we have proof, we know how it was done, is not the truth. For me, the only truth for me is nobody knows who made these things, how it was made, when it was made, and why it was made. We are all speculating. No matter if you're an academic, if you study these things for 50 years, or you come here and for the first time and you look at these things for 3 weeks and you have an opinion. We're all speculating, and this is what I do as well.
No, it's not a kind of speculation. It's facts. You have a fact.
There are facts, but I try to stay away from, people immediately expect an answer. Like, okay, you studied these pyramids for 6 years, so how was it built? It's like, I don't know.
By hand, actually.
Yes. And actually, if you would ask the obvious question that is around, especially in the last few years with the, let's call it, ancient high technology on the one side, and on the other side you have like the the basic opinion that says it's all made by hand with copper chisels and pounding stones and so on. These are just like the two ends of the extreme. I think it's a mix. In the end, it's a mix, and this is just my speculation. I think it's a mixture of both. You cannot say this was done by machines or this was done by hand, like handmade only. I mean, the only thing I know is they knew exactly what they were doing. They did not do these things by accident. I don't think they made like structural mistakes, like for example, like lots of scientists are talking about, for example, the Great Pyramid with these three chambers that they say, okay, first they wanted to bury the king here, then they said, no, let's put him here, and then they said, no, let's put him there, and okay, here, this is good, let's bury him here. Same with the bent pyramid, that they say they started it this way and they made a mistake and then they changed it midway. And no. I at least I don't believe that. You know, if you look at the bent pyramid.
First question, what smart man supposed to ask, to build all this, we have to have science, math, engineering, management, everything supposed to be done. It's supposed to be whole projection institute, and it's supposed to be a whole management team who manage it to build any of these buildings, you know. And we know ancient Egyptian, they did not know math, they did not have science, they did not know nothing. So when you're talking about how to cut the stone, it's not the first problem. First problem, how this idea could come to somebody's head, like pyramid.
Yes.
And after, how it was projected, designed, and you know, every stone on its place. So every worker supposed to have a page with order, what he's supposed to do. And now we do it still with institute, many peoples with computers. Like 150 years ago in 19th century, it was whole buildings in Manhattan with like 40, 50 stories. People was counting numbers to build something smaller and easier than pyramids. And there is no any marks or no any evidence what something like this existed in Egypt. There is nothing. No one paper. We have a lot of paper, like Hawass say we found with builders village, and we have notes from different people. Yes, we know we received like some food or beer or something. Yes, we have these tickets, but we don't have no blueprint for pyramid, no order, no nothing, no one paper. But it's supposed to, if it's like around 2.5 million stones in it, it's supposed to be one piece of paper, at least 10 blocks, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
we could not just disappear, because we have everything. We have toilet paper from that time, right?
Exactly.
And no piece of paper about this construction.
Yes, and it's strange, right? Because these are the most amazing structures here, but they did not mention, or at least like not much.
It's making a question, but we don't know answer, of course. It's a field for speculation and theories, and every theory has rights to exist because no evidence.
Yes, I agree. Actually. I mean, speaking of theories, you know, since I'm actually writing this book, I did more research than before. So I tried to get like to get into everything I can get my hands on. It can be a modern report from an archaeologist. It can be a really, really crazy video which has like these conspiracy theories. Every theory has the
Oh,
right to exist.
Conspiracy theory is attractive for people because it's like sensation. People collecting likes because that's why we have to say something.
Yeah.
Actually, but a real explanation really don't exist. I have a piece of a stone. This is a piece of Shepseskaf sarcophagus from Mastabo of Shepseskaf, and it
Oh,
has a surface.
yes.
Yes, and I gave it to guys to MIT
Yeah.
to laboratory to check it, and they did not find anything on this surface. So it's no leftovers of metals or something. And this guy, he told me, no, he did not know what is it from. So the most important was
Yeah.
not to tell what is it.
It's good.
And he told me it was cut with water pressure, high pressure water stream.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same idea at one point.
But the form of sarcophagus, it's not straight sides. It has curves, so it can't be cut with water stream because water stream is straight.
Exactly.
And there is no answers. We just have a fact, and that's it.
No, but this is actually a pretty good point because these specific things, and I point a few objects out in this book. For example, there are two objects that are absolutely astonishing when it comes to these tool marks. I mean, I'm pretty sure you know about this granite, like this piece of granite in Abu Rawash.
Yes, yes.
That has this curve and this other curve at the same time.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And there's another piece, almost like it's different, and it's made of basalt, and it's in at this place of in South Saqqara at the site of Pepi II.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what I mean?
Yes.
This is the other way around. It has another. It's not convex. It's not concave. It's convex. So it's the other way around, and it's absolutely astonishing. I mean, not only this water pressure idea is not working there. It's like this whole. You know the all these theories about how these old stones were cut or polished, like copper saws with an abrasive, like quartz or corundum, or
no, it's impossible.
I think so too.
No, of course it's possible for some cases, because if we see, like, for example, Karnak temple, how long it was building? It was for like 1,000 years, and its construction volume like 1,000 times less than Great Pyramid, for example. And it's like 40 generations of people was continue building this structure. Yes, of course, we used with what you say, copper things and saw and stuff, and with abrasive, current maybe. But it's very slow. And we see very fast construction. Of course, it's impossible to do with tools.
I agree. But the thing is that, like, back to the theory thing, that, I mean, with every theory, we tend to, I mean, maybe it's a sign of our times, but we tend to not have a middle ground. You know, we have either the one extreme or the other extreme.
Absolutely.
It's like, and I don't think you can get any answers when you're in either of one of these two fields. You know, you have to see both sides, and then you take these pieces of each side and you make up your own mind. And this is what I'm trying, and actually this is what I hope to get, or to cause with this book is, look, this is what I saw. I show you these things. This is this one side. This is the other side. You decide. What is it? Let's hear your opinion.
How science it works like this. You have to show facts, and people can make decision. What is it, or conclusion, or there is also theory about soft stone. Like we make stone soft and plastic and form.
Yeah.
Because there is a statue of Amenemhet the second or a third in Luxor Museum, and the statue has, these lines on the kilt.
Yeah, I know.
So, and it's absolutely visible what it was made in soft stone. Like, when you use hot knife and butter, it looks the same. So it was different technologies, I guess, what we used.
Maybe. I mean, I know what you mean. These. I saw marks like these and in pyramid sites, because I mean the thing is that I am aware of these places, but to be honest, I've never been to Luxor. I've never been to Aswan. I've never been to the south of Egypt. Since I was stuck here and my project is focusing only on pyramids, I saw a few places except pyramids, but mostly pyramids is what I know. And I saw some of these marks that look like you said, like a hot knife was cutting into butter or something. But there's one thing, for example, like you can research about this, that people try to melt stone with fire, with sunlight, like focused sunlight. And once you reach a certain temperature that the stone actually starts to melt, once it cools off, it changes its structure, and the color. So that means if you would melt a stone, you would not have the same color than on a different spot of the stone. You would see that there's a discoloration where the cut is and so on. So I'm a bit skeptical about this melting theory, but to be honest,
it's not melting. No, of course it's not melting, because if it's temperature, the basalt and granite, it's gonna just burn, because it's a chemical reaction when you warm it. But the statue, what I'm talking about in Luxor Museum, it's limestone, and it's still soft. But limestone, you can't warm limestone, because limestone gonna get in the dust right away.
Exactly.
It's cement and
because it's
concrete.
not volcanic rock.
Yeah. So it's maybe a lot of different stuff. How it was made and what was technology, we don't know. We have to say we don't know, but it's a lot of marvels and a lot of mysteries, and huge field for research in these artifacts. And you never been in Abidos, right?
Unfortunately, no. I mean, actually, maybe if it's okay for you, we can do a small break. I smoke a cigarette and let's quickly talk about Abidos. We can do it after if you want, but
let's smoke a cigarette. Yeah,
I was actually really interested. I'm to be honest, I wasn't too familiar with your channel, the channel we're on now. But I was super interested in watching your interview with James Westerman.
Mm-hmm.
It was really amazing. And actually,
he does not want to tell everything he knows. He doesn't want to tell even on interview, but in person he is telling everything.
I can imagine. I mean, I contacted him, I think 2 years ago or something, but unfortunately I never got a response. And actually, Abidos, to be honest, the thing I'm interested in there is only the Osirion. It's like this place, and And since we're off the record here with the cigarette, you know, the thing is why I didn't go is, you know, there were other reasons why I ended up in Egypt, and not good ones, you know. All this COVID thing, my work, everything went down the hill, no income, I'm broke. And Egypt was kind of like some kind of a sanctuary for me, you know? And since I can take a microbus to any pyramid here, it's all along the same road. You just say, okay, stop here, and I go out and walk through these pyramids. It didn't take much money for me to go there, you know. Most of the time, I just go there with the microbus, go to the guard, offer him some cigarettes. We smoke some cigarettes, we have a tea, and then this guy says, okay, you want to go explore the pyramids? Okay, go ahead. And I know if I would go to Abidos, same in Luxor, as much as I want to see it, one day I will see it for sure. But these places are tourist traps. It's like once a foreigner arrives in this town, everybody knows that you are there. They follow you around. They want to. They say they want to make sure that you're safe. But that means I could not go by myself and explore with the guard, you know, smoking some cigarettes with the guard. It doesn't work like that there. So this is why I didn't
go. But we know everyone. If you want to go to Abidos, we know everyone from guards till general manager, till, you know, head of University of Saqqara, who is managing all this area. So it's everyone our friends over there. And it's not only Assyrian, it's also, you know, there is a tomb of Senusert in the rock.
Yeah. Okay.
This is two things. And another one is huge temple of Osiris, completely destroyed now. It's almost nothing left. And it's also interesting, you know, Abidos is place worth to visit. This is the place where civilization started, actually. This is the root of every one of us.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's a friendly place.
Yeah.
And it also has a pyramid of Ahmos, the first, and another one. We have two pyramids over there. So it's an interesting place, and you have to go there.
No, I will go at one point.
And
I want to go there.
You're not going to be disappointed with this. Definitely.
Oh, I know. But the thing is, like, I know about these prices, and, you know, in Abidos to get into the Assyrian with, like, me going there for the first time, knowing nobody, it's going to be really expensive for me because I cannot.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be impossible, even for money, because it's close.
This is why I never been.
It's a Jim supposed to call him. Jim spent 40 years. You know, here in the United States, he is like a very successful, famous hydraulic engineer. He is a rich guy. He has enough money to do everything. You know, he does his researches for his account. Nobody pays him. He is paying from his pocket.
Yeah, like me. I mean, everything I did, I paid from my own pocket. But the thing is, when it comes to these special permissions, I cannot do it like continuously, you know. I can do it here and there, but every special permission kills my budget, you know. This is like, I mean, hopefully I have the chance soon. I'm in contact with someone who wants to do some research inside pyramids and some places, and he agreed to take me with him, so I can document at least some of them, and I hope it will work at one point. And at one point, I really need to go to Abidos as well as Aswan.
Aswan, yeah, Aswan, very special place. It's mostly late place, but Abidos is all ancient, really ancient.
Yeah.
It was a Jewish temple in Aswan, and it
Mm,
was a really popping place, like just before Jesus Christ, I think this time, and a little bit
yeah.
after. So real stuff only in Keris and
Yeah.
maybe a little bit in Baton Island, which is closed. You can't go there also. It's not that interesting, actually,
Okay.
except with Caris, where you can see what it was. Oh, it also
Yeah.
look very weird.
Mm. But one thing, since we're still smoking, I mean, and maybe I say this again later with these questions, but I was aware from the beginning when I did some research of the ISIDA project. So what you did actually with these like closed sites is amazing, because you know that there's no photos, no videos of those places. Some of these places are not documented in 100 years. And
It's a lot of places absolutely not documented.
yes, so my question would be, have you been to Zawiya El Aryan? And I don't mean
Yes.
the,
Yeah,
I mean,
only pictures you can find from the Viet Illyrian, it's my pictures.
but the inside the military base?
Inside.
Really? How
Yeah.
did you get there?
I have a friend, Mohammed. He is
We
nephew
all
of.
have.
Huh?
We all have a friend that is
No,
named Mohammed.
it's my really close friend, and there is nothing special. We have a conversation somewhere in Europe. It was not connected to Egypt, absolutely. He is a
Okay.
nephew of uh, chef of counterintelligence.
Ah, very good.
So it was easy. It was one phone call, and everything was open.
Yeah.
But now he is not already. So it's changed. No, but still, I have good connections in Egypt, and it's possible to get there. It's not that close, like they say. They just need to be a little bit upscale. We know people. It's nothing interesting there. It's like a trash box now.
I know, but for me, it's very interesting. Even if I just, I just wanna see these walls, because I'm not only interested in these, granite and all these tool marks and so on. This is the obvious thing. But I'm also interested in lots of other things that I'm documenting in my book, which is like shafts, tunnels, all the stuff that is underground, which is
It's that's why I say it's completely filled with sand and trash. So it's maybe like maybe 2.5 meter deep, and you can see a little bit with pit,
yes,
but not much. And it's a lot of grass and shit on the edge of this pit. So it's in very bad condition. And it was I was there last time in 2017. In February of 2017, it was almost, you see, it's 8 years ago. How it looks now, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't
it
think
was
it's
already
much
very
different.
bad.
Yeah. But still, I want to see it.
No, I think it's possible because now we start new set of expeditions over. This year, maybe I gonna come. Nikita is gonna come maybe soon this summer to see like first eye. And maybe November, December, I will come. And I will go again to all closed sites.
Nice. I mean, I would love to connect with you guys when you're here. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
here. All here.
of course, we're definitely going to be connected. So we're going to go full team. And you could take groups if you're sitting where you can take tourists too.
I know, but
Like,
this is my problem. This is my biggest problem. I hate
why?
tourists.
You don't like to tell people, well, because they bring money, you know. Money
I
is
know
important.
money is important. I know, but the thing is, I might do it at some point, a few times or something, but I cannot do it now. It's like the thing is, I made a decision, and I know it sounds crazy, but in Germany, I made the decision. I'm not working anymore in this field in Hamburg or in Germany. I need to make a cut and do my own thing now. And now it's like somehow, I don't know, I have no income for now it's almost 5 years. And I'm doing like very small jobs here and there, but it's not a real income. You know, in Egypt, I can have a good life. But in Germany,
Yeah.
it's like very tough.
Oh,
And the
you know,
thing,
yeah.
I
Germany
need
in
to
general
focus.
is very tough.
Yes. And the thing is that now I have a full-time job, if you believe it or not. Yesterday, I was working 15 hours straight on my laptop, writing, editing, photo editing, layout, rearranging, color grading of photos, and all these things. And I feel like, of course, I don't make any money yet, but it feels so great to do this full time because this needs so much time. It's
Yes, I
like,
agree.
and sometimes, you know, for example, what I say today, maybe I won't agree on this in 2 years. I would say, back then I was stupid. I did not know enough, you know, and I have to step back from my own theory, basically.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Okay,
it's
we
time.
can continue.
Yeah, sure.
So, tell your opinion about Abidos. What do you think about Abidos? What's interesting? I know you've never been there and you're planning to go there. So, what's
Yeah.
attractive over there for you?
I mean, the most attractive thing for me in Abidos is the thing that is the so-called Osirion, which is this kind of temple behind I think it's Seti the First temple, which is underground, and it has a completely different approach. The structure, which I only know from videos and texts and photos, reminds me a lot of the structures here in Giza. And by the way, if I say Giza, I don't necessarily mean the Giza pyramids, because every pyramid along the Nile until Fayum is still Giza. It's all part of the same limestone plateau. And Abidos, this Osirion, is for me, if not the most interesting structure that is not directly connected to these pyramid fields. And this like the style of how these stones were made reminds me a lot of these structures here at these pyramids. And this is why it's so interesting. And of course, this is not the only thing. One of my subjects in my book is water. And usually, if, let's say, you're not a researcher and you don't know about all of these places, if somebody says there's water under the pyramids, people say you're crazy. Egypt is a desert, there's no water, and so on. But there is actually, and it's not a secret. There's a few places where I saw the water myself, which is basically in Giza, the Osiris shaft, for example, where you can actually see, you can touch the water. And I also saw it in Zawiat El Aryan, in one of these kind of, I wouldn't call them shafts. It's like more like these round holes that are, for me, it looks like natural. And maybe, and this is where it connects to Abidos, I think maybe what I saw through one of these holes, I saw water moving in maybe 10, hard to tell, maybe 10 or 15 meters or somewhere in between. But I saw that the water was moving in one direction. And I thought maybe this is like an old aquifer. And this is exactly what is so interesting about James Westerman's work. Like one of his core questions is like, how or why were they even thinking of building on top of an aquifer? And this is what the most interesting thing is about this Osirian, in my opinion, that this kind of, the people who built these structures, they knew they were actually, maybe they were tapping into this water source. Maybe they were controlling the direction of this, or obviously this temple, even if we don't know what it exactly is, but I think they built it because of the water. It's like, I mean, I only know these mostly about the Osirian, about from James Westerman's work. And when he mentioned in one of its earlier expeditions that they had like several water pumps and they were pumping out all the water, and they did not reach the ground, and they were already like, I can't remember for sure, like 12, 15 meters deep. And so this is not like that was not an accident or something that this place was flooded. It's like they knew exactly what was there. And why? I have no idea, but I would love to see this place.
Yeah, and we still don't know if it was underground structure or it was on the ground structure. And I think it was a part of some complex, and it is supposed to be in our buildings, upper to the hill. Yeah, and it's the most interesting thing, and it looks like with Valley Temple by Sphinx in Giza. It's looks similar.
Yeah. It looks similar, but it's not exactly the same. I mean these straight lines and with these columns and so on. I agree, but it is different.
We don't know. Maybe something underneath temple by Sphinx also. Maybe some water sources, because with Osiris shaft, it's right over there by this procession road, and it's water aquifer. Water horizon is right over there. So it's all like subject to research, how it was working and what it was created for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so,
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so I think we're gonna finish for today, and we're gonna talk next time about we're gonna talk about some special object we have, and we're gonna discuss and show you something more interesting. So thank you very much, Frank.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay, bye, guys.
All right. Goodbye.